Alright, this is a walkthrough of my current guitar rig. This is my gigging rig. Main amp being the Vox AC15, the smaller version of the classic AC30 model of Vox. I play with just kind of medium compression, got an overdrive pedal, and then finally the Holy Grail reverb. I typically like playing a pretty clean, kind of basic tone, which supports just soloing, some solid rhythm. And yeah, I really have fallen in love with Vox amps. You can see my standard practice amp is also Vox, even though it's solid, kind of a cheaper solid state. I really love it. But what the Vox AC line is really known for is the super bright, jangly, kind of very prominent, jangly, punchy kind of tone, harkening back to the the early days of rock and roll bands in this British Invasion in the 60s. And a lot of that comes from just the standard Vox circuitry, giving it that really bright tone. So one really interesting quirk of the AC amp line is the interplay between basically this tone cut knob and the regular equalization, bass and treble. So the tone cut is basically, it's the last kind of step or component in the circuit, and it's basically a knob that really allows you to control the level of brightness on the amp. And you probably ask, well, isn't that handled typically by your equalization, basically the treble level? And to be honest, I'm not fully up to speed or well-versed on exactly how the two differentiate and what the interplay is, but it's interesting to experiment with it because there's some actual interplay. So if you turn up the tone cut while turning up the treble, that has a different tone than turning down the tone cut, turning down the treble, and there's just a lot of experimentation you can do there. So just to give you an example of the tone, here I have the tone cut knob turned all the way down with just the treble at kind of the mid-range. And I'll just show you how this works. So you can kind of hear very bright, very punchy. That's with tone cut all the way down. When I turn it up to where I usually play it, it's really about here. It turns down the level, the brightness, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when I turn it up, it even emphasizes the treble a little bit more in a different way, which I still can't wrap my head around, but it's less bright, but it kind of, really heightens the trebly sound, or at least the higher register tones a little bit more. So I'll give you a taste of what that looks like. That's it, kind of at a, somewhat medium level. And then when I turn it up all the way, just to give you a sense of what that sounds like. And then yeah, just going back to where I typically keep it, which is like right around the mid-range, a little bit higher, and it's kind of where I keep it. This is kind of my just go-to tone, which I'm pretty happy with.